Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this exclusive webinar on investing in your homeland, the Roshan Digital Accounts, brought to you by CxO Global Forum and Codebase Technologies. It is a pleasure to see all of you here. Now, CxO Global Forum is a knowledge-sharing platform for all C-levels across the globe who are not only thought leaders, but domain experts who have made a considerable amount of difference in the fields that they're working in. We take massive pride in our contributions to the knowledge economy. Why we decided to choose this particular topic for today. Now, we know that remittances by overseas Pakistanis through normal banking channels are a vital source of balance of payments support for the country. According to the State Bank of Pakistan, the remittances from Pakistani workers employed abroad exceed $2 billion for the 10th consecutive month in March 2021 at $2.7 billion, which is 43% higher than last year. According to the central bank, a large part of the remittances during July to March period came from mainly Saudi Arabia, standing at $5.7 billion, the UAE at $4.5 billion, with $2.9 billion coming from Great Britain and $1.9 billion from USA. According to the findings published in the World Bank's Migration and Development Brief, instead of an expected decline in remittances widely projected in early 2020 because of apprehensions regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and the eviction of Pakistani workers from countries, including several in the Middle East, the remittance flow into the country increased by 17% in 2020, with a current surplus of $945 million recorded by the State Bank in the first 3 quarters of the current fiscal year. Policies such as a tough crackdown on informal money transfers under FATF regulations, and more recently, the opening of Roshan Digital Accounts, which allowed Pakistanis to send money to accounts opened in banks at home, and policies investing in your homeland became a reality. Now, this is a game changer event, and to bring more knowledge to you and contribute to the knowledge economy, we decided to partner up with Codebase Technologies, who are the pioneers in integrating this technology. So let's speak to our esteemed guests who are a part of this panel discussion today. Let me first take an opportunity to introduce them. So we've got from the State Bank of Pakistan, Mr. Syed Irfan Ali, who's the Managing Director, Deposit Protection Corporation, DPC, and he's the lead on the RDAs. Then Mr. Naveed Malik, who's the Head of Consumer Banking at Dubai Islamic Bank, Mr. Yasir Qadri, who is the CEO of UBL Fund Managers Limited. And then from Codebase Technologies, we've got Mr. Sajjad Razvi, he's the Board Advisor, and Mr. Rahil Iqbal, who's the managing partner. Welcome to this amazing panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen. And just to declare a few house rules for all the people that are watching today. If you have any comments or feedback, please post them as comments. And if you would like me to ask any questions from the gentlemen, we'll do so after the panel discussion. So let's kick off today's event. My first question is going to be to Mr. Syed Irfan from the State Bank of Pakistan. Sir, how was establishing Roshan Digital Accounts, how has it transformed investing for overseas Pakistanis?
Thank you so much, the CxO Global Forum and my fellow participants, especially Sajjad Razvi Saab. Sajjad Saab was in fact one of the first few persons who helped us launch the Roshan Digital Account in Pakistan. So thank you, Sajjad Saab.
Welcome, sir.
It was due. The acknowledgement was due, so it's already well acknowledged. Now, the question as to how it has transformed. So it has actually turned everything on its head. It's just not transformation. It's a sea change. So what has happened? So it has transformed the way Pakistanis have started to invest in Pakistan. and they can do so now digitally. So our main logo, what we were trying to project to Pakistanis, non-resident Pakistanis, that do record be pass. So wherever you were in the world, we thought that we could get you connected to Pakistan digitally. So that is what was the massive transformation. And although Corona had its pitfalls and its, the destruction that it caused, but on the digital front, it transformed the way we were doing banking and the way we were thinking. So it changed us. So there was major disruption as far as we are concerned in our thinking. And then we transformed the way we wanted Pakistanis. We transformed the way we wanted Pakistanis to invest in Pakistan. So we went digital. So that is the first part. The second was that we offered a lifestyle of banking products. We said, Pakistanis, you can pay your bills in Pakistan by sitting wherever you are in the world. I guess, is there some disruption? I find some disruption. Can you hear me, guys?
Sir, we can hear you right. Please carry
Okay,
on.
no, okay, good. So Pakistanis can, pay their bills. So wherever you are in the world, and let me tell you that Pakistanis have opened accounts from 170 countries all over the world. And these countries have ranged from Peru in South America to Papua New Guinea near Indonesia, to Fiji, to Burundi, to Uganda, to Nigeria, you name it. We have now 160,000 plus bank accounts. So we say Pakistanis, non-resident Pakistanis, you can pay your bills. You can invest in stocks. You can buy property. You can buy Naya Pakistan certificate. And not only that, you can get Naya Pakistan certificate in the Islamic version, Islamic Naya Pakistan certificate. And lastly, you can repatriate. So it has actually transformed the way investment is done in Pakistan. $800 million plus has come into Naya Pakistan certificates. Couple of billion rupees have landed in the stock market. $1 billion has landed in the property market. $400 million plus Pakistanis have just spent on their loved ones, their families, their relatives. So it has actually transformed the way investment is coming into Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we're so glad that the State Bank of Pakistan has become a champion of the Roshan Digital Accounts. My next question is to Mr. Sajjad Razvi from Codebase Technologies. So what is the future outlook for Pakistan's otherwise cash-rich economy with these new investment channels?
I think the prospect remains excellent because this is just the starting point. We have to understand that we have, in terms of the opportunity, we have 7 to 9 million. Even if you take the lower figure of 7 million, the Irfan Sahab said we have only opened, 200,000 kind of range account, which means the potential is extremely high. Now, as Mr. Irfan said, and you said in your opening remark, here, the key enabler has been technology. The straight-through processing, the onloading of the document digitally, because our population abroad was not able to deal with the bureaucracy and the paperwork which was required previously for the overseas Pakistanis to access Pakistan. So courtesy, Central Bank of Pakistan and firms like Codebase and DIB and other participants, the whole process was made digital. What that means is what took few months now takes few minutes. The money was always there. The amount of savings and the income was already there. And the amount of annual income that overseas Pakistani generate is $30 to $40 billion per annum. So even if you take that they save 10% of that, the saving pools per annum is $3 billion. So to your question about the potential, it remains immense. Now, the second part was that how do you broaden the scope of services the level of, ease and access to other areas beyond, I would say, just one or two products. And I think there again, I would recognize what the central bank has done and what banks are doing and what, technology firms are doing. They have broadened this to real estate, to stock exchange, to probably, operating accounts. And I think there are 2 or 3 other initiatives that are underway. An individual or a saver basically wants access to services. So as of now, the level of services they are accessing are few and they will grow. The level of pool that is being invested is small, it will grow higher, and it will have a very salutary effect on the economy of Pakistan. Because if you just take a simple math, if $1 is injected into Pakistan, it has a multiplier effect of 3. That means at least 3 people benefit from that. So if we have, about 1.2, $1.3 billion, which can move to quite a few $billion, you can imagine how many millions of people will benefit. I can confirm to you in some other countries, the same initiative has been launched and it has been successful, but our rate of success has been higher. And there, I think the credit goes to the central bank, to the banks, and to people like Codebase.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with that more. My next question is going to be rooted to Mr. Naveed Malik from the Dubai Islamic Bank. So what were the crucial factors you intended to establish in your Roshan Digital proposition?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, CxO Global, Sajjad Saab, Irfan Saab, Yasir Qadri Saab, and Rahid, of course, from Codebase. I'll just go back to what Irfan Saab was telling us about the RDA product as a whole. This product has been designed and driven by State Bank of Pakistan right from the start. Right now, there are 12 member banks, and the Dubai Islamic Bank joined the RDA bandwagon on the 24th February this year only. So we're slightly late entrant in that, but that gave us a bit of an advantage, and we were able to learn from the participants who had launched this product earlier on, and we identified the issues with the help of the State Bank of Pakistan, who went hand in hand with us, who guided us while we were launching this product. Now, since this is a pretty standardized product offering that is being done by all the 12 member banks, it's fairly difficult to differentiate your product proposition from the other banks. One of the main differentiating factor that we have is that we are an Islamic bank, first of all. So whatever products and services that we're offering under the umbrella of Roshan Digital are 100% Sharia compliant. The second advantage, or the second USP, I would say, is that we are a global Islamic bank. Dubai Islamic Bank is present in 7 countries, and we have a fairly strong presence in the UAE. In fact, we are the largest Islamic bank in the UAE. And one of the few stats that you were mentioning earlier on, so far, UAE has been one of the biggest contributors in terms of account opening. And we hope to leverage from this opportunity as well. What we understood was that the main differentiating factor in this product would be the customer service. And for that, since it's a digital product, we needed to have a very strong digital platform. Hence, we did not compromise on that, and we partnered with a strong technology provider, Codebase, who helped us design a fairly strong app and a portal which provided a seamless customer journey. Because the main, since there is a limited human interaction over here in this product offering, the app and the technology and the IT platform play a very, very important part. So far, we are a relatively new entrant, but we've received a very positive feedback from our customers. And we are hoping that in the coming days, we will emerge as a very strong player, inshallah ta'ala, in the RDA product category. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And we wish you all the best for it. And indeed, like you rightly pointed out, in the customer's journey these days, what matters the most is your experience. And from what I know from you gentlemen, Codebase Technologies has done an amazing job at ensuring that experience is seamless. Speaking of CBT again, let's revert to Mr. Rahil Iqbal. So what did CBT aim to achieve with its Roshan Digital Accounts when you were doing the implementation for DIB Pakistan, because they were just praising you so much?
Thank you, Anza. And first of all, thank you, State Bank, for joining this session. Irfan Saab, thank you for having you on this panel. Of course, without your guidance, this would have not gone where it is today. So we are very appreciative of all the efforts which Irfan Saab and State Bank has put in making sure that the customers were kept at the heart of the proposition. It was not a technology-driven thing. It was customer at heart, customer first, customer-centric proposition. And then we enabled the vision of the State Bank and Dubai Islamic Bank by bringing the digital technology platform into the picture. So it was a collaborative effort. And what we see in the market is banks have growing their investments in the technology arena. And we wanted to make sure that the platform we bring alongside with our partners was safe, secure, it is scalable, and it is future ready. And today, alhamdulillah, we are able to expand the services on the panel, on this overall platform very fast, in line what State Bank requires. State Bank comes up with new propositions, and we have been aligning our platform relatively faster in going to the market. Be it the Euro, the Naya Pakistan certificate in Euro came out recently. The Samaji Khidmat form came out. The Apni Car facility came out as well. So we were the first ones to actually bring that proposition faster in a fully digital manner. And we continue to work on and investing in the Pakistan's infrastructure when it comes to technology. In terms of how we look at the market from a Roshan Digital perspective, it has a lot of opportunity out there. And we being as non-resident Pakistanis, we have been exposed to a likes of a lot of international best practices. And as Codebase, we wanted to bring those best practices to Pakistan. How UK, Europe has done open banking, how they're doing digital banking. We wanted to bring all of those best practices to Pakistan and make sure that our overseas Pakistanis get the right approach, the right product, the right journey, and the right experience. And hence, our partnership with our clients in Pakistan is beyond almost 20 years, more than 20 years. We've been working with Pakistani banks in the market, and this was an opportunity for every one of us to basically bring in digital experience, how it should be, and to service the customer's need, making sure everything is seamless, everything is integrated, everything is real time. And secured, of course. So that was the overall gist of why we invested and why we keep investing in the Roshan Digital infrastructure alongside with our partners. And definitely we are bringing the same service and same platforms to the other industry players like the mutual funds, stockbrokers, property and real estate agents as well. So there's a lot of opportunity we are working on, and we're very excited with this Roshan Digital proposition overall.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rahid Iqbal. And there's something that really resonates well with, I think, the audience today as well. You mentioned that it took a lot of heart and empathy, and who better to understand how to best serve the experience for overseas Pakistanis than to overseas Pakistanis themselves. So, I'm glad that you were the architects of this great technology. My next question is going to be to Mr. Yasir Qadri from UBL Funds. Sir, how has the investment space evolved ever since the onset of the global pandemic? Because you're an expert at funds and investments. So are you there with us? Mr. Yasir Qadri, would you like me to repeat the question? I think.
Yeah, please do, because I think I got disconnected from
connection. No worries. Because you have been working in the space of funds and investment for quite some time now. So how has the investment space, the whole ecosystem, evolved since the onset of the global pandemic? We know that COVID has had its fair share of effects on everybody, especially on funds and investments.
Gee, well, first of all, thank you, Anza, for having me here in this very August panel. And I must, take this opportunity and appreciate the effort of State Bank. I think under Irfan Saab's leadership, this has been really groundbreaking. And within our community, I've been an ambassador of not only the Roshan Digital, but how different products have been integrated into it, serving to transaction needs, saving needs, growth needs, investment needs, so on and so forth. So it's a wonderful, wonderful initiative. And I think it'll go a long, long way. And as Irfan Saab said, it's probably, going to, especially for non-resident Pakistanis, change the way that things have been done so far. Coming back to your question, this was an interesting topsy-turvy ride for us. I remember March last year when the news first broke out, news coming from China initially, we were not overly concerned. By April, we were pulling our risk management manuals out and fearing that there would be liquidity shocks in the market, and we have to manage our exposures accordingly, and we may face redemptions, and assets under management may deplete, and markets may take a knock. And these were the kinds of concerns, and that was really the rhetoric within the community or within our company or within asset managers. Once again, hats off to the central bank. I think it was extremely, from a monetary standpoint, it could not have been managed better. And it was that timely and measured sort of induction into the system through different schemes, which helped the system stabilize, and not only stabilize, but actually grow from there. And then soon we started seeing a very, very healthy recovery in the stock market. Rates were kept very, very stable. So there was a fair amount of interest in fixed income funds, in bond funds. And let me share with you that the growth that we've had in the last little over a year has not only been good, it has been unprecedented. We've actually never grown as an industry as much as we've had in the last 15 months or so. And as you saw that reflection in banking deposits as well. So, so yes, and then of course as we interacted with our customers in many other industries, we realized that we were not the only ones, and there was this cascading effect. Exporters, of course, from different segments, and other sectors. So most other sectors, in fact, had started doing not only well, but better than they probably had ever done in the past in many, many areas. So in that way, and of course, we've all had our share of grief and bad experiences and personal losses. But from a commercial standpoint, it has been managed, I think, extremely well. But also what we've learned that over the years, the things that we had planned but had not been able to do because of some pressing business interest, because we were not, I guess, for lack of vision, I don't know. I can tell you for my own company that, VSB always were very, tech oriented compared to the rest of the industry, but there were still things that we were not, there was no sense of urgency in some of the things, and all those projects had to be pulled out of the bag, and COVID sort of taught us a new way to do business, because mutual funds, insurance in Pakistan is a very hard sell business. We go out to our customers are not coming to us that much. There's a lot of physical interaction, a lot of paperwork, a lot of regulatory requirements that need to be fulfilled. So the general perception was that paper is unavoidable. But in the last, I think, 15 months, a lot of that has changed, and a lot of that has changed for good, probably. And it's
Right, absolutely, sir.
keep improving from here.
Right, thank you. My next question, since Mr. Yasir Qadri mentioned something very interesting. He mentioned that, sometimes for most part of it, the perception is that going paperless seems challenging. Now, with the advent of the RDAs, Mr. Irfan, so how do you see this initiative evolving over time? Like, do you think we can truly become paperless? Do you think that this whole process, how do you see the evolution?
Thank you. I think I must thank all the participants for praising State Bank of Pakistan. A pretty lavish praise. Thank you so much. It has more to do with the way the thought process has evolved, and the way the team has started to function, and the way not only in State Bank of Pakistan, the way we partnered with the financial sector, with IT companies, with SECP, with the Pakistan Stock Exchange. And I thought that we were able to engage some very intelligent people, one of whom is sitting here, Sajjad Razvi Sahab and his colleagues. So we were able to seek guidance from some very senior people. Then we had a think tank. So Anza, Saqib, what has actually happened is that it has all gelled down together beautifully. So let's put it that way. So all positivities, and the impact Roshan Digital Account has had on GDP is 0.25%. So the growth that we saw 3 claims, and Station Digital Account has a big growth. So what I envisions is that the digital transformation or digital disruption is here to stay. That's the first one. So I see most importantly that the impact that Russian Digital Account will have on the GDP growth. So remember, I'm a central banker. So I'll talk about GDP growth. I'll talk about the impact it will have on employment generation, the impact that it will have on our current account surpluses. So the way I look at it is that I see about $3 billion of investments by the end of this year and $5 billion by the middle of next year. Impact on GDP could be anywhere between 1 to 1.5% by the middle of next year. I see, disruption. I see fintechs playing a very important role. The Rail here is something food for thought for you. So I'll see more open banking within the financial sector. I see, the way non-resident Pakistanis, I think they will become more and more demanding. And this will open way for better investment. Like Yasir said, I think, yes, sir, I agree with Yasir. In his business, it is hard sell, but I foresee that if you could, organizations like UBL fund managers and others, if you could piggyback on RDA, that will make, maybe life a bit easier for you, and you will be able to, generate more business for your companies. Right now, and I do envision that we have a limited role of the stock markets, where our brokerage community is very well connected with the banks and non-resident Pakistanis, but I see that we have close to about 4,000 investors, which is not bad to begin with in the 8 months that we have had. But we are our Pakistan Stock Exchange and State Bank and banks are already working. In fact, we have embarked on a journey to encourage non-residents to invest in Pakistan. So I think what is the veil of but distrust? I see that moving. I think I जो Pakistanis जो हम पे कुछ distrust करते थे वो खत्म हो गए. दूसरा, I think I envision the bureaucracy that existed within State Bank and within the financial system. I think we had to give away our egos, कि यार नहीं हम लोग we'd start to serve, so that started to come in. So वो भी change हो रहा है. So that will also, the way government reacts to non-resident Pakistanis, I think that is also amply clear. So the way I see Roshan Digital Account evolving is, it's in anybody's guess, but I see a lot of change in attitude, in the money that comes in the benefits that it will bring to the economy, and it will bring technology more closer. So I feel that Pakistan will be the major beneficiary of Roshan Digital Account, and it's just a matter of time. We are at yesterday. We had about 163,000 accounts, about $1.3 billion plus. I mean, so it's and every day, we are Naveed Saab or Meri Ladai hoti hai almost, on a daily basis, and the rest of the banking sector. So I call them on. I said, "Yaar, kya hua? Kya reh gaya?" Unlike a regulator, calling people for business, which I was never used to, So but I had to do that, and my team does it. Ali Raza is here, So हमें पता था, हमें लगता था हमें ही बहुत अक्ल है, जो कि दुरुस्त नहीं था. पूरी इंडस्ट्री को, लोगों को हमसे ज़्यादा पता है, but business at least they know much more than we do. So I think we have gelled well. Sorry for the long reply, but we are very, very excited, in fact, about it. There are 12 banks. We'll be adding about 3 or 4 more banks in a couple of months. The market is very excited. We are even adding National Bank. You can imagine कि इस पूरे system में National Bank अभी था ही नहीं, which is a major remittance player. Major remittance player. It brings in about $4 billion per annum. तो नहीं था. So we are trying to bring in that energy, or we need people like Rahil Iqbal, and I'm a fan of the youth. I think जो young log and they are the people, they are bringing it. So I see a lot happening. I think we will bring in more youth. I think we need that energy levels.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited, Nyanza.
Right.
I feel very excited.
So you're on point, and especially when you spoke about the youth, there's a lot of overseas Pakistanis that are among the young population that are sending a lot of money to Pakistan, and like myself, they're all digital natives, and the constant problem that they complained of was that, look, there's too many bureaucratic channels, too much paperwork, and we're unable to get that simple ease of access that we see in the UK, US, so on and so forth. My next question is for Mr. Sajjad Razvi. So, do you believe in the effectiveness of more such digital initiatives across Pakistan's financial ecosystem, since we're just, a tree that's growing now?
Right. I like to just take one step back. as the panel may have observed, I advise central bank also. I advise banks also. I advise fintech also. I am an NRP. So I'll little bit speak as but a well-wisher of this whole initiative. Now, these things have phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is launch. And I think all the stakeholders need to be complemented. The technology providers provided digitization, the banks brought in apps, did what they have to do, regulator did a super job, government supported it, and NRPs have the confidence and they came in. So great story. Now, over here, I would like to make one observation based on my experience that acquiring a business, acquiring a customer is one initiative and one goal. It is achieved, but retention of customers and growth of customers are phase 2 and phase 3. I would think that all of us, the banks, tech providers, the regulators, have to now focus on retention and growth of customers. I mean, what banks need to do to ensure that the rollovers take place, what banks have to do to ensure they have help desk, what banks need to do to ensure that they are communicating with the customers and understanding the issues they are facing post acquisition. So retention of customers is a very different process from the acquisition of customers. And we have to ensure that we don't relax or become complacent, miss out on retention and growth versus potential. Now, is it possible? Absolutely. Is it feasible? Absolutely. So everybody here, the banks, the regulators, the tech providers, the NRPs, we have to be very interactive. And I think banks especially have a bigger role going forward because they have now acquired the customers. They have to undertake steps to retain and grow them. If they're selling 2 products, they should sell 3. If they have $1,000, they should get 5. If they have 10, they should get 20, because the market share is there, the market size is there. So I think all the stakeholders have to work on phase 2 and phase 3, which is retention and growth of customers. And banks have a bigger role in improving the apps, in improving the customer reach, in maintaining the customer service and listening to the clients so that we can achieve, as Irfan Saab said rightly, the potential of 3 by next year end and 5 and probably even higher. I've told you the size, the pool of the money is much, much bigger than that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sir, some very pertinent points made. And Mr. Naveed Malik, I would love to bring to your attention something that Mr. Sajjad Razvi said. The onus is on the banks now to ensure that there is ease of access, a better user experience, and retention of customers. However, so the onus also lies on you on picking the right kind of technology partners for implementation. So I know that Codebase Technologies were the implementing partners for DIB in the Roshan Digital Accounts. How was your technology experience while working with Codebase Technologies?
Thank you, Panza. Before I actually answer that question, I'd just like to take a step back and just talk about what Irfan Ali Saab was talking about. In terms of the RDA product and how it's evolving by the day. You see, we've seen a very different side of State Bank of Pakistan. They've been very aggressive. They've been driving this product, and they've been taking feedback from the customers on how to improve the overall customer experience. Now, in order to cope up to that pace of evolution, you need to be very agile, you need to be very dynamic in your approach, and you need a very, very strong technology partner who can provide that flexibility, who can provide that 24/7 support. Because I have seen for the first time, at least in my career, that the regulator works on a 7-day program. That I know. Irfan Saab is doing webinars even on the weekends, and the teams are following up even on the Saturdays and Sundays. And this has actually set a pretty high bar for the banks as well. So we are also working on a 7 days program. There is no break for the Roshan Digital team here in Dubai Islamic Bank. So coming back to your question, Codebase has been a very strong partner in this overall journey so far, and they've really provided that flexibility and that support that was required in developing the RDA proposition where we are today. In fact, we are the only bank, or maybe the second bank, that actually has a Roshan Digital app for the RDA customers. In coming to Sajjad Saab's point, you're absolutely right that acquisition is the easy part. Then comes the retention part. If your app is good and the customer is hooked up onto that app and has a 360-degree functionality available on it, there's a likelihood that the customer will retain and the relationship will be deepened. So the importance of the technology of the digital platform is of paramount importance. And Codebase, Rahil, I mean, we've been in talking to him. We've had these conference calls on Saturdays, Sundays, on the tight project timelines that were given to us by Irfan Saab. But Alhamdulillah, they've been there, and we have Alhamdulillah delivered on those timelines so far. So thank you, Rahil.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Mr. Rahil, now this raises a very important point, the fact that oftentimes it's perceived that bankers don't understand technology and technology partners don't understand finance, right, and banking, but they do understand fintech. Now, what can Codebase Technologies do for similar institutions that are actually seeking expertise on digital transformation within the financial ecosystem, but are probably a bit hesitant?
Yes, Anza. Thank you, Naveed Saab, for the appreciation. Thank you, Irfan Saab, for making sure that we were on target and on our toes day, night, 7 days program. See, the thing is, yes, you're right that bankers did not have the understanding of technology. Technology did not have an understanding of banking, and that's where we come in and we bridge that gap. We come from the banking industry. We come from the technology side. We exactly know how things work in a bank, and we're able to hence advise on both the sides what is required to service the customer. At the end, we prepare our propositions, we prepare our solutions to ensure the customer is serviced the right way, as he should be. Now, in terms of the guidance provided by the regulators all the time, we help institutions bring the game and bring in effectiveness within the proposition. And our solutions have been used by not just banks, but also challenger institutions. As you know, we recently partnered up with the Dubai's first digital-only bank proposition, basically being supported by the government of Dubai as well and government of Abu Dhabi. The whole objective is to bring in those same digital transformation strategies and execution to other sectors like the mutual funds. So we are actually working with the mutual fund providers as well. We're working with stockbrokers, and you would, Irfan Saab, you would be very happy to know that we have already initiated the project on the real estate investment program, where we are launching a Manazil app, which would allow overseas Pakistanis to actually buy properties and do their entire process through the mobile banking app of Roshan Digital. So this would be the first ever possible option where a Pakistani bank would be able to engage their customers for investments, likes of property, and the entire life cycle of the property management would happen within the same application. No more forms, no more talking to the developers directly. Everything how people do it overseas. We have been in conversation with our partners, and we are bringing that technology platform to Pakistan for the very first time. And I'm pretty sure that would change the entire landscape of how Pakistanis invest in our property market. We know exactly there are pitfalls, there are issues, there are challenges for overseas Pakistanis, and that's where we are trying to achieve. And we consider ourselves as a fintech provider, helping not just the banks, but other service providers in the financial institution sector. And we are dedicated, we are committed to help Pakistan get the right approach, the right best practices, and bring in whatever talent we need from our pool of overseas Pakistanis. We're committed to serve Pakistan at the very best, at every time, 24/7. Anza, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I think there's a bit of a technical glitch there. But sir, it's very important that you are, talking about the future, because with the pandemic, if we've noticed one thing, it is that the future is here and now, and anybody who does not amalgamate within these technologies, they're going to be left behind. Mr. Yasir Qadri, now when the pandemic came, I'm sure there was a shift in the behavior of customers. What has been a notable shift in in the behavior of the customers, especially in terms of investments and funding?
An obvious shift, of course, was to move to technology, and thankfully we, and I speak for the industry, we had some products in place. So once investors were within our ecosystem, they could pretty much do any kind of transaction online, and that volume, of course, increased substantially. Also, because work from home compulsions on and off, we had to introduce new technology-aided tools and put them in offer very, very quickly, so that the burden on our call center, for example, is eased off. So we worked on various WhatsApp solutions, so on and so forth. So getting to business as usual was a challenge, but yes, we got there fairly soon. So people within the ecosystem, we started serving fairly well and made it very convenient. Initially, of course, the little that we knew, we thought this would be a cycle and it would get over. It'll be a couple of months, maybe. Now one feels this has become a lifestyle. So then we started worrying about getting new business on board, and with the kind of requirements that we have in Pakistan, perhaps globally, the amount of documents, the attachments that go in with an investment application or an account opening form, we weren't really sure if it's really going to work out. Yes, as a concept, technology is great, but we never thought if we could really sort of put this in place and it would work out. But we started exploring, and we met a lot of people, And one of the peoples then we met was Codex. And I must admit that, I am, you can call me a cynic, when it comes to evaluating, technology platforms or products. But for me, when I was there in the first presentation, and it was almost, it was love at first sight. I really liked the way it was done. So I think it was that day that we decided, okay, these are the partners that we're going with, and this is exactly what we want to do. And so we are now, of course, engaged on a day-to-day basis, and hopefully are going to close that very, very soon and have digital onboarding on offer, not only for clients abroad, but clients in Pakistan as well, and not only for online or e-account opening formats, but also dovetail it with our existing brick and mortar system. So that's probably going to be the only way that we will do business. We could have a salesperson go and have that thing filled out, or someone could be on an app and fill it out, or on a portal. But that will be the only interface that we will have with our new clients going forward. So that's the kind of leap of faith that I think we had to take. That was the recognition.
Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, gentlemen, I'm going to remind you all that we're going to go towards the Q&A session now, since we've been getting a lot of comments and queries. So, Mr. Naveed Malik, a lot of praises for you. And in fact, we have a comment here that I'd quickly like to read out, and says that Dubai Islamic Bank is going extra miles to support RDA product. That is something to be appreciated. And there's a lot of appreciation for the State Bank of Pakistan as well. And someone has actually taken the liberty to say, I never thought that in my lifetime it's something that I would see implemented in Pakistan. So definitely, it's appreciation for the product and how it's bridged the trust gap of NRPs, which was present in the past. So we have been getting a lot of questions, and I'm going to divert them to the panel. First of all, we've been getting a recurring question, and maybe Syed Irfan Saab, you would be the right person to answer this. Which currencies can be supported on this platform in the future? Are we only talking in terms of dollars and or PKR? So you're on mute.
In fact, the currencies that are globally recognized are dollars, euro, pound, yen. But there is Saudi Riyal, then there is UAE dirham, Canadian dollars, you name it. In fact, banks as a whole, the RDA banks, there are 12 of them, are offering accounts in about 14 currencies. Now, but it varies from bank to bank. For example, DIB, Naveed will tell you better, but it varies from bank to bank. So it's not common. It's not a common platform that every bank provides services in every currency. That's not correct. But at least there are 4, and then the rest depends on the bank itself.
Right. Thank you, sir. For anyone in the panel who would like to answer this, in your opinion, what is the reason behind the increase in foreign remittance after the outbreak of the pandemic? The person asking the question has said anybody from the panel can answer this one.
Okay, now this is a very broad question. Remember that we were under a FATF action plan. So there was a lot of effort over the past couple of years in choking the informal remittances to Pakistan, Hundi and Hawala. Then there was massive lawmaking whereby each and every sector of the economy, including banks, made sure that the AML CFT requirements were adhered to at global levels. Then we started to get better results at the FATF front, and FATF also started to recognize that Pakistan has made great strides as far as our action plan is concerned. And just 3 days ago, you saw the FATF report. So things started to move in positive direction. And more so, the remittances that we got in the past 10 months had a lot to do with the use of technology, with ease of doing business. So we moved a lot of ladders, a lot of stairs towards ease of doing business. So Pakistanis, if some of you may not know, but the entire Pakistan Remittance Initiative scheme is subsidized by the government of Pakistan. So whatever money that comes in from Saudi, UAE, and other parts of the world, the remittance cost is borne by the government of Pakistan. And a hell of a lot of money is paid on that account, approximately, I mean, very big amount, in billions. It runs into billions. All these things, started to shape up. Then, obviously, there was less traveling. Then the Umrahs and Hajj expenses started to drop. Pakistanis weren't visiting abroad, so a lot of factors contributed to the increase in remittances.
Right, sir.
More importantly, technology.
Absolutely. Mr. Sajjad Razvi, I think you should take the next question. It says,
Please.
so there's a mention about, and I believe this person who's asking the question is probably hinting at something else, but they've written this initiative should be extended for local clients as well. Is that going to happen soon? Maybe they mean that, are you targeting consumers directly in some way? Is there a new solution that's coming up?
In other words, the question is, how are banks target marketing customers, or how are banks soliciting customers?
So it just says that, is this initiative, I think the Roshan Digital Accounts, or maybe what they're trying to say is Codebase Technologies developing any infrastructure for consumer banking for locals in Pakistan?
Yes, I think Codebase is absolutely doing that. Raheel has mentioned that, like what is being offered for the mutual funds, what will be offered for real estate. It will initially be for NRPs, but at some stage, it will also be for locals. It will depend on bank to bank. But one thing is for sure, customers want more and more digitization of products and services for the things that Mr. Irfan mentioned, that ease of doing business, cutting out the bureaucracy, making KYC and onboarding process simpler. So the answer is yes, it will be extended to local market as well. And it will be expanded to a broader product base as we move forward. You've heard what is being done on real estate. Similarly, there'll be more on the stock market. There will be more on, other operating account facilities. So I see that the product locally and globally will be expanded in a significant way.
Right, absolutely. Thank you, sir, for the answer. And in the interest of time, we're just going to take one last question. And Mr. Raheel, since I feel like this question is related to technology, you should be the one answering it. So the gist of it, it's a very long paragraph, but the gist of it is that once someone signs up to a Roshan Digital account, obviously they're signing up with a lot of personal information and account information. So is the security happening only at the bank level, or has Codebase built in some security features as well for protection of data?
Definitely, that is a very critical question and very important question for consumers to know actually. When we work with banks, we ensure the security is end-to-end. It's not just the bank's data servers or anything. It's an entire application, what customers are accessing, what services they are accessing. Everything goes through rigorous testing cycles, security-wise, and we follow the best practices as outlined by the central bank. For the banks to basically undertake such security frameworks, as well as we also conduct our own security testing independently from our other clients as well. So at all times, we try to collaborate with our clients into ensuring that the security is at the utmost importance when we are making any of these technology solutions. In addition, just to add upon what Mr. Sajjad was mentioning in the last question, we are already working on a local onboarding proposition. State Bank has already reached out for the guidelines, the draft guidelines on how we can onboard resident Pakistanis as well. So our platform is already equipped with all the requirements, all the functionality and the guidelines, what the State Bank requires to onboard a local normal resident customer. And with the pandemic, I think that's the only way forward for any bank or any institution, be it a bank, be it a mutual fund operator. And as Yasir Saab mentioned, this has to be done. There has to be a leap of faith uh, within this segment, and we need to ensure that we deliver on that promise. And Alhamdulillah, we have delivered it, and we'll keep delivering our promise to the industry.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rahil Iqbal. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for today. If you have any more comments and feedback or any other queries about the Roshan Digital Accounts, about the kind of work that State Bank is doing, or get in touch with Codebase Technologies, please get in touch with us and we'll put you through to them. Do keep us updated with your comments and feedback. For those of you who want to know more about our panelists and the amazing work that they're doing, we've shared some links in the description below. Thank you very much for your time. Gentlemen, thank you very much for disseminating very integral pieces of information and contributing to the knowledge economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Anza.
Thank you very much, Anza. Thank you very much, Irfan Saab, Naveed Saab, Yasir Saab, and Sajjad Saab for being on the panel.
Thank you, Irfan Saab, and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.